Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry that I'm late. Technical difficulties once more. I forgot that I needed my microphone. So today's podcast is serious. It's about censorship. The reason I'm doing this is because Facebook has decided to take down one of my videos that talked about what's going on in Israel and Palestine, and it was about um, the family, the Bibas family, that was the children, two children. One hadn't even reached 1 years old. A 9 month old child and a 4 year old child were killed with their mother, and they were returned to Israel after many, many months being kept, actually not even hostages, because their bodies were, the forensics had found out that the Israeli forensics found out that the children were killed immediately on October 7th. They were choked to death, and then their bodies taken to Gaza. Their bodies were taken to Gaza and kept there, and they were stoned, to make it look like that they actually died as a result of a Israeli military operation. And this is just not the fact. The fact was that they were choked to death on October 7th. I want to talk about censorship and free speech because this is very important to me, because I'm a Jewish woman, and if Facebook is going to take down a video where I don't have any hate speech, where I don't talk about anything except that this is not acceptable, that it's not acceptable for people to be spouting hatred towards Jews, but it's okay for the Jewish people, it's not okay, excuse me, for the Jewish people to stand up for ourselves, to fight for ourselves, to defend ourselves, militarily and in the face of just corruption, and to defend ourselves ethically. And we are an ethic people, and we don't want to see anyone die. But the fact is that we are going to defend ourselves in every way possible. And I am a pro Israeli person. And yes, I would call myself a Zionist. I am a Zionist. I do believe that Israel has to exist. And if this is too political, this is definitely not for children. I would, if you have children, I would send them out of the room if you don't want them hearing what I'm saying. Because I come from Russia. I was born there in 1970 when the country was communist, and there was censorship everywhere, especially for Jewish people. Jewish people could not safely practice their Judaism. Jewish people, and no one, actually, not just Jewish people, could say anything about their government. And I want to tell you something today that I recently found out about what's going on in Palestine, and explain to you that this war, which I've said before, is a business. It is a business, and don't get it wrong. Don't think that if there were no Jews tomorrow, that if Jews were completely wiped from the face of the earth, you and your family wouldn't be next. Because now I heard that um, Hamas is desecrating the graves of Christians in Palestine. They are digging up graves of Christians who've been there for decades or maybe even hundreds or possibly even thousands of years because they do not feel that the Christian bodies should be in their soil. And no pun intended, that they are soiled with some kind of they're unwanted. They're not appropriate to be buried where they're buried. Then you think that this is just a war on Jews, you have to think again. Because the truth is that Europe is experiencing, and America actually, not just Europe, but all over the world right now, the demonstrations that you see against Israel, against the Jewish people, they're not just anti Israeli, they're not just anti Jewish, they're anti everyone except for organizations that are corrupt, like Hamas, like Hezbollah, who want to make the entire world bow to them. They want to make the entire world an Islamic caliphate. This means no tolerance for anything except their way of life, their culture, and their cult of death, destruction, violence, war, and everything that you consider good and honest and everything that you hold dear is being destroyed, and the fabric of society, of our society, of a just society, of a society of tolerance, the society where people can be gay, they can be straight, they can be bisexual, they can be whatever they want to be, LGBTQT, everything in between. And that's it, not just that, but freedom of religion, freedom of speech. There is no freedom of speech, it seems, for Jews. Jews are only loved when they are dead Jews, when they are walking out of the camps of death from the Nazis. Um, Jews are not acceptable when they are defending their way of life, when they are defending themselves against Hamas, Hezbollah, and the, any organization that was ISIS, the Taliban, Al Qaeda, whatever. It's all of these organizations are for the destruction of the fabric of our way of life, the American way of life. Um, Anything in Europe has just been completely destroyed and corrupted. It has gone out of control. When you see people, and I say people very lightly because some of the behaviors are just demonic and destructive. It's barbaric that there were children. It's barbaric that there were dead bodies of children paraded through the streets of Gaza while their own children were put up front to cheer for the dead bodies of dead children. And when you see Europe, and in Europe, the police can't do anything. When you see our universities, our colleges, our campuses being destroyed, when Jewish people cannot safely enter into a building to go and learn, to study, so that they can bring light to the world rather than darkness, there's a problem. And when you're being censored, I'm being censored now, apparently, on Facebook, my last video on this subject is going to be taken down. If you've never seen any of my videos, usually they're mental health advocacy. And you know what? There's a mental health problem here. When when you're raising your children to hate Christians, to hate Jews, to hate anyone except anyone exactly like you, then we have a global problem. This is not a problem in Israel. This is not a problem for the Jewish people. This is a problem for all people all over the world to stand up to hatred, to stand up to um, tyranny, because don't get it wrong. This is a business. This war is a business against everyone. If there were no Jews tomorrow, Christians would be next, Catholics would be next. People are Christians and Catholics have already been killed by Hamas. If you look at other countries around the Middle East, there Israel is one little tiny dot amongst a sea of Islamic Arabic countries. And my question would be is, where are the peaceful Muslims? Where are the Muslims who are not radical and who are tolerant? And the answer would be, my answer to you would be that they're scared and they're afraid to speak up, and they won't speak up because they would be killed, and they're scared for themselves and their families. And this culture of violence, of death, destruction has to be dealt with. And unfortunately, it is Israel who is dealing with this for the whole world. They're not just doing this for themselves, because the fact is that, like I said before, and I say this again, this is a business. This war has been going on for thousands of years. This war against Jews has actually been going on in the Middle East even before there was the religion of Islam. And if you don't know any of these things, you can go, you can learn, you can Google online, you can go to Wikipedia, you can open a book and read a history book. These groups, these types of groups that have no tolerance for anyone but their own, have always been around. They've been around for thousands of years. They've been killing Christians for thousands of years. They've been killing anyone who is not going to bow down to them for thousands of years. And Israel and Zionism was just a new wave of hatred. It's just another excuse. It's just another scapegoat. And it's just another blood libel on the Jewish people to make everyone think that everything is the fault of the Jewish people. And make no mistake that if Hitler had finished with all the Jewish people, someone else would have been next. He was going to go to Africa. He was going to go to uh, any place where there were people of color or people who were considered unacceptable. And this included gay people, and this included people who had disabilities. This included people with mental illness. Anyone who was undesirable was going to be next. So if you love free speech, if you love, and I am willing to engage with anyone who wants to comment or chat. I'm open to any conversations. But the fact is that this war this business of war makes a lot of money. And I'll say it again, and I said this in the video that's being taken down tomorrow. This is a war of this is a business. This war is a business. It's not, these people are not tolerant of anyone. They are not tolerant of not just Jews, but everyone in between, everyone and everything in between. And it makes me laugh when the LGBTQ community goes and demonstrates with people standing for free Palestine. Because the fact is that, and I said this before in the video that's taken down, when the state of Israel was formed, the state of Israel, no one wanted the Palestinians to leave. Their leaders were telling them to get out, that the Jews were coming to kill them. That's just not a fact. I have no hate speech in my videos. I have, I'm not telling anyone, I'm not saying that anyone should be killed or murdered because they are not Jewish. We don't do that. We don't say if you're not Jewish, then you have no right to live. And this is what these barbarians, because I don't want to call them people, I don't want to call them human. I feel that they are a demonic, they are despicable, deplorable, disgusting groups of people, of inhumane. These are not people. They are not animals. Animals have the capacity for love. Animals have the capacity for empathy. So I would not compare them with animals. But this tolerance of hate speech against the Jewish people and the state of Israel is going to be is beyond just that. It is against everything that you hold dear. When Christian graves are being dug up in Palestine because they are not desirable for the soil, there is a problem. There is a global problem with that. When Christian graves are being dug up, and you have to understand and you have to look at the fact now that this is not just a Jewish problem. This is not just an Israeli problem. It's not just an American problem. It's not a European problem. It is a worldwide catastrophe. This is a catastrophe when the world is being taken over by radical Islamists who want to do nothing but murder and claim that they are somehow disenfranchised when they're getting billions of dollars sent to them from around the world, and their leaders make sure that that money doesn't get to where it needs to go, which is infrastructure, to build infrastructure for hospitals, for schools, for a better life for their own people. This is a problem, a global problem, because these people are sitting, the leaders are sitting in Qatar. Some people call it Qatar, whatever, Qatar. They're sitting in Turkey, and they're sitting on the billions of dollars sent to Palestine around the world in order to make Palestine a better place. But the fact is that no one wants to make Palestine a better place. The only thing they want is the destruction of Israel. And if you think that anyone else who lived next to them would not be destroyed, then you are sadly mistaken, and you are a very foolish person if you think that if every single Jew was dead tomorrow, that this would somehow end. You're very sadly mistaken, because the fact is that these people have been accepted in Europe as citizens, and instead of working, they live on welfare. Um, when the Jewish people before World War II were peaceful, tolerant people who were a functioning part of society. They were actually, you know, they were functioning members of society who didn't start wars, they didn't start caliphates, they never proselytized anyone to convert to their religion, never said you have to bow down to us or we're going to kill you. They were peaceful people. And now, what Europe has, and why Europe is burning, and America is burning, and everything that you hold dear is next. When Christians are being murdered, when Christian graves are being dug up and bones thrown away where they've been for maybe hundreds of years, we have a problem. We have a global problem. This is a global problem. This is not this is not something that is isolated to the Jewish people or to Israel. So what you have to understand is that this when I see people is a light term, when I see someone Palestinian calling the Israeli people Nazis, but then raising their arm to Hitler, like, so they feel that all Jews should die, then we have a problem in the world. When if every single um, Hamas declaration has been to wipe out every Jew in the world, and when people are saluting, doing the Nazi salute, and I like I said, people is a light term for what I'm talking about. And when videos like the one that I'm doing today are being taken down by Facebook of all people, who is owned by Jews. And by the way, I've been also sometimes censored by YouTube as well. And YouTube was also owned by Google, who is started by someone Jewish. So when we have speech, you're able to talk about Jews being gassed. It's time to gas the Jews. There's Nazi salutes going all over the world. There's a global issue. This is a global problem. This is not isolated to the Jewish people. We never wanted the Palestinian people to suffer. Excuse me. No one ever wanted the Palestinian people to leave when the state of Israel was formed. They were told to leave by their leaders. They were told that they were going to be killed by all the Jews. No one wanted to get rid of them. They were told to leave by their leaders. They didn't want to live next to Jews when the state of Israel was formed. Now, they lived next to the Jews for thousands of years. There were Jews in Israel, in Palestine, for thousands of years, even after they were expelled by the Romans. And if all of this goes over your head, I would suggest to go get a history book. If this is over your head, if you don't like my videos, if you want to unsubscribe to my channel, by all means, if you disagree with me, if you don't want to hear about this, and usually I do mental health videos and stuff like that. But I am a Jewish woman. I have opinions. I am a Jewish person. I'm going to speak my mind. And every time you censor one of my videos, I'm just going to make a new one about the same thing, which is that there is no more room for intolerance. We're tolerating a lot as human beings on this planet, who are basically, we're tied together, whether you like it or not. We're all in this together. And if we cannot come to some sort of middle ground where people stop wars in order or people start wars so that they can keep making money and live on that money without having to actually do anything. And that's pretty much what the Palestinian leaders do. They don't really do anything except live on the billions of dollars sent to them from around the world to for the Palestinian people to have an infrastructure. So when I'm going to just end this, and I would just say this, I'm going to end this as I always try to do on this podcast on a positive note. I will tell you this, that the Jewish people are going to defend themselves. We're not the same Jewish people that came out of World War II. We're not going to sit by for people screaming that we should be gassed in ovens. We're not going to tolerate little 9-month old babies being choked to death by Hamas. We're not going to tolerate hate speech against us without saying anything back. We are here and we're here to stay. As the queer, they said, we're here, we're queer, we're here to stay. We're Jews and we're proud and we're not going anywhere. And neither is the state of Israel. And we will live and we will continue to thrive. And we will also continue to give light to the world where it's dark. And that's what I would like to end this with today. Thank you for listening and watching. And if you like what you see, if you're interested in more of my videos, you can go to my YouTube channel at Alla, Alla Kaplan, Kaplan 3270 to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.